Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the weekly Wednesday Live. I'm Vegan Coach Naomi, and I run this amazing Facebook group to help everybody go vegan for their health and get serious health benefits fast. So I do these weekly Wednesday Lives to get everybody participating and to hear your questions and to hopefully give you some help along the way. So, today, we are talking about the 8 physical signs of gaps in your plant-based nutrition. So, and this is something that I really want to help you guys to work out so that you don't make the mistakes that I did, so that, you have a smoother road going vegan for your health, and so that you get the health benefits that you want without making all kinds of mistakes and going down all sorts of different rabbit holes. So if you're on the live stream right now, let me know that you're here. Let me know that you can hear me. And maybe you're wondering why I'm wearing this fancy red dress. Are you? So let me tell you, did you know that it's American Heart Health Month? And so I wanted to wear this red dress to honor all of you in this group. Hi, Angie. I have not seen you on one of these weekly Wednesday Lives before. It's wonderful to meet you. So I'm wearing this red dress in honor of American Heart Health Month, and to honor all of you in this group who are overcoming those signs and symptoms and risk factors of heart disease. So if that's you, if you're overcoming or reversing high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high glucose, artery blockages, any kind of heart disease at all, let me know in the comments that that's what you're here to do. I'm wearing this red dress for all of you guys for American Heart Health Month. Judy, nice to see you. Thanks for letting me know you can hear me. June, yay! Got some people on, and we are ready to get moving. So a week ago, I took a poll in the group, and I asked, what do you guys most want to learn about and stuff? And unanimously, everybody chose, thank you for saying I look beautiful in this red dress. That is a lovely thing to say. I wish I could see you so that I could say the same. So I took a poll in the group last week, and you guys unanimously voted that you most wanted to know about plant-based nutrition. So today we're going to talk about the 8 physical signs of gaps in your plant-based nutrition. Now, obviously, I cannot teach you everything about plant-based nutrition in a 30-minute live stream. However, let's get to know the gaps and the signs and symptoms that maybe something is awry in your plant-based diet, so that then you can, start to learn further after that. Deborah, nice to see you on this live stream. Okay, so the reason I want to do this thing about the gaps in your plant-based nutrition is also because I remember how it feels when I was recovering from breast cancer surgery and breast cancer treatment, and I was really sick. I was bald. I was scarred up here on both sides, and I was really scared. And I was watching the documentary Forks Over Knives, and there's T. Colin Campbell, and he says, we found in all of our research on animal proteins that eating animal protein turns cancer cells on, and not eating animal protein turns cancer cells off. And I thought, that's it. That's the secret for me. So I wanted to go vegan immediately, without even doing any research at all, except for watching that entire documentary and learning more about how the standard American diet and animal foods are, responsible for the epidemics of obesity, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes we have in this country, along with my cancer problem. So, Jackie, nice to see you from Florida. It was a beautiful Florida day today, wasn't it? Except for that pollen count. I've heard that that's bad, but of course I don't suffer from allergies. So, Christine, so nice to see you here. So I remember, so what I was saying is I remember how it feels to, you know, just quickly adopt that whole food plant-based diet and not really thinking about the nutrition of it. And actually, when you're eating the standard American diet, you're usually not thinking much about nutrition either. Like, are you thinking, oh, am I getting enough omega-3s? Maybe many people in this group, because maybe they're more health conscious, maybe you might have been conscious of all the different nutritional things, but most people eating the standard American diet don't realize how poorly nourished they are. Hey, Christine is saying, hey, Judy, so you guys, some of you guys know each other. That's so much fun, isn't it? To like get on and know each other. So again, I don't want you guys, hey, Tanya from Chile, Cape Cod. Nice to see you on this live stream. Got lots of new people on here tonight. This is great. So in case you missed it, I'm wearing this red dress in honor of American Heart Health Month, which is February. And again, in honor of everybody in this group who is overcoming the signs and risk factors and symptoms of heart disease, reversing their high blood pressure, reversing high cholesterol, reversing artery blockages, reversing type 2 diabetes, high glucose, and all the rest. This is in honor of you guys. If that's you, if you have lost weight from your whole food plant-based diet and your blood pressure has come down, your cholesterol has come down, or you've had some other amazing benefits, please type it into the comments so that other people know that they can do this too. So I'm going to outline the top 8 physical signs of gaps in your plant-based nutrition, because that's what you guys in this group said you wanted to know about. So number 1, here we go. Feeling hungry. If you've adopted a whole food plant-based diet and you've been doing this for 2 days to 2 weeks or whatever it is, Cher is still waiting for the weight loss. Well, we're going to talk about that. Good for you. And how long has it been, Cher? How long have you really been following the whole food plant-based no oil diet? Has it been 2 or 3 weeks? Star. Yay! No standard American diet here from Cypress, Texas. Nice to see you on here. All right, the number 1 sign that there's a physical gap in your plant-based nutrition is feeling hungry. The number 1 physical sign is feeling hungry. And that means that you are simply not eating enough and that you are approaching this as a diet. Okay, so that means that you're eating very small portions because you think you have to have small portions. You might be still in some kind of calorie counting mindset. Maybe you're only eating salads because you don't know what to eat, or you're totally overwhelmed, so you're just eating side dishes from whatever you're cooking for your family. All of that is going to leave you feeling supremely hungry. So that is the number 1 physical sign that something is wrong with your plant-based nutrition. Judy says, yes, yes, and yes. I've lost nearly 50 pounds, heart meds cut in half, glucose and liver enzymes back to normal or even better than they were. This can happen for all of you people, all of you. All right, so that was the number 1 physical sign that you have a gap in your plant-based nutrition. Number 2, feeling weak. Let me just see if this other one is part of them. No, feeling weak, feeling sort of tired maybe. So again, not eating enough is going to cause that, but also not eating the right types of foods to keep you energized. So, you may not be realizing that a whole food plant-based diet is made up of 80% unrefined carbohydrates. So what is that? That's fruits, vegetables, grains, and beans. And you may be largely missing out on one of those food groups. And if you are, and it's the grains and beans portion, you're going to be feeling pretty shitty. I'm just going to say point blank. Leslie says, off all meds and 50 pounds released. You see what I'm talking about, guys? Once you get this thing nailed down, boom, you can reverse these conditions. So, where was I? Unrefined carbohydrates, the grains and beans portion. And why is that? that is because your muscles and your brain work on carbohydrates, on glucose. Your brain can't function without it. So you're going to feel terrible if you're on one of those low carb diets. So that's something that you need to think about. You may be coming into this group or coming into this way of eating from watching a documentary, but before that, you might have been on one of those low carb diets or a paleo diet or a keto diet or any kind of thing trying to be like low carb. And anytime that you are low carb, you are going to feel crappy. And the second thing about that is that on a whole food plant-based diet, when you don't eat the carbs, you're simply not getting enough starches to help you feel good, to help your muscles feel strong, and to help you feel energized. Instead, you feel weak, draggy, tired, but what I want you to realize, and if you didn't know it, you could Google search this, is the amount of athletes that are turning to a whole food plant-based diet. It's not because they're feeling weak. No, they're reporting that they feel stronger than they ever have been. They can have more endurance. They can lift more weights. They recover faster. They run faster. Have you heard of NFL linebacker David Carter? Have you heard of Rich Roll, the ultramarathoner? Have you heard of all the Olympic athletes that are all going vegan? They get the nutrition right because they can't afford not to, right? And it's not about the protein. It never was about the protein. So feeling weak is a very big physical symptom that you've got something wrong going on with your plant-based diet. Tanya says, please talk about bread. That's not the topic of tonight's live, but I will. Yes, Ezekiel bread is wonderful. So you want the least processed breads with the most amount of whole grains. That's going to be Ezekiel bread. So if you love that, you are in like Flynn already. Look at that. But that doesn't mean that you eat that all day long every day, right? So fruits, vegetables, grains, and beans. Did that answer your question? So, all right, number 3, physical sign that you're doing your plant-based diet wrong in the nutrition area is not being able to lose weight. Okay, it's a sign that you're just not doing it right. And this is one of the mistakes I'm going to tell you that I made when this happened, when I went vegan. I told you it was the end of breast cancer treatment. Any of you guys who have ever been through breast cancer treatment or know anybody who has, then you know that the women end up bald without their breasts or without one breast or a big hunk taken out. Or on top of that, because of the chemo, they give you steroids with the chemo, you end up gaining a good 15 pounds. So when I finished breast cancer treatment, I was 40 pounds overweight. I probably started out 20 pounds overweight, and by the end of it, I was 40 pounds overweight, 40 pounds more than what I am now. So, so when I first went vegan, yes, Cher, I guess that's you, but sometimes it takes a little longer. So let's keep talking and see if you get any other clues or whatever. We'll talk it through. So where was I? Oh, when I first went vegan, you know, I didn't know everything. I didn't have a guide. What I decided to do was get the Forks Over Knives cookbook, which went with the movie, and I just started cooking stuff out of that. But I still made lots of other mistakes. So initially, I did lose probably 20 pounds pretty quickly. And that was, you know, doing it cold turkey. I just went like overnight, boom. But then I stopped losing weight, and I didn't really know why. And then I went to the doctor, and so all of a sudden my cholesterol was 220, and it had always been 160, which is nice and healthy, right? So I started thinking about what was I doing, and what I was doing was because I thought that all plant-based foods and oils were fair game, I started eating so much oil. I was putting coconut oil in my coffee, like that what do they call that? Coffee with the oil in it? Whatever that stupid coffee is. It's stupid. I was putting it in my smoothies. I was cooking with it. I was putting it on my salads. I was putting it in my hummus. I mean, it was ridiculous. And that was the reason that I stopped losing weight at that point. And as soon as I started listening to Dr. Esselstyn's, no oil videos, and I started reading and learning more, and I did the plant-based nutrition certificate, from the Center for Nutrition Studies. Once I really learned how harmful and inflammatory oil is inside the arteries and inside the body, and how empty of nutrition it is while being the most calorie dense thing you could put in your body, I really realized that I needed to stop eating the oil. And as soon as I did that, it was like, boom, the rest of the weight just fell off. And now maintaining my weight is just so easy. So the same thing goes for a lot of high fat plant foods like nut butters, nuts. I also went through a phase where I loved pistachio nuts. I mean, it was ridiculous, and I ate way more than 22 nuts at a time. So I also, had to learn that just because it's a plant food doesn't mean that it's not full of saturated fat, and that these things add up very quickly. They cause cholesterol to go up, even though you're not eating cholesterol, because cholesterol only comes in animal foods. Judy says, I did the same thing, coconut olive oil. Yeah, so dumb, right? We just didn't know better. And when you know better, then you can do better, right? So all the plant fats, that includes, if you're eating a whole avocado every day, if you're eating handfuls of nuts, if you're still eating corn chips, I mean, all this kind of, very high fat, very calorie dense foods, that's going to stop your weight loss. So there's a lot to be learned about plant-based nutrition and about fats and omega-3 fatty acids and share, oops, too much nuts and nut butter. Listen, what I'm going to tell you guys is if you follow a low-fat, whole food, plant-based, no oil diet, there's no way not to lose weight. You will lose weight. So if you say you're not losing weight, there's always a reason. And you just need to learn more about this whole plant-based nutrition. And you will see that making one little change, two little changes, and boom, it'll be effortless. So, so that's my story, my oil story. And I don't want you guys to go through that, especially if you are already suffering with high cholesterol, high blood pressure, heart disease symptoms and risk factors. If you're already obese, I do not want you to waste time going through that. Leslie says, I cut out snacking on almonds and it made a huge difference. Yeah, I'm telling you, you switch from nuts to fruit and, boom, that makes a giant difference. So yeah, I don't want you guys to make that mistake. So that's the number 3 physical sign that you've got a big gap in your plant-based nutrition knowledge, and that is that you're not losing weight or you're gaining weight after adopting a whole food plant-based diet, and you just don't know why. So and by the way, oil, all the oils, no matter what kind it is not part of a whole food plant-based diet because it's not a whole food. And this is something we will go into in depth in talking about nutrition. Robin Taylor is saying, what about bananas? Bananas are fruit. Fruit is wonderful. Fruit comes with the fiber and all of its vitamins and minerals and phytochemicals, and bananas are wonderful. I mean, unless you're eating 5 bananas a day, it's wonderful. Tanya says, how much nuts a day is okay? I think Dr. Greger in his Daily Dozen, he might say a handful. And a handful, this part is like a quarter cup. Brittany Bauman says, I'm 34 weeks pregnant and have been on a plant-based diet for almost 2 years. Whoops, hold on. I'm currently addicted to avocados and I can't stop. You don't have to stop. You just have to eat, half to a third a day and not a whole one. Does that make sense? Use it where it tastes delicious. Use it with your rice and beans. Use it on your avocado toast. Use it you know, where it, in a salad where it's really going to make a difference, but don't load it into your smoothies or, you know, eat a whole one every day. That's just way too much. Christine said, haha, I just put my can of almonds back in the desk drawer. Christine, you know better. Okay, so where were we? Number 3, not being able to lose weight. Big physical sign that you have gaps in your plant-based nutrition. All right, number 4, if you're on a whole food plant-based diet and you're having like a dry skin or dry hair or hair falling out kind of thing, that's a sign of that's a physical sign of a gap in your plant-based nutrition. So here's the deal with that. Many people, when they first adopt a whole food plant-based diet, they will notice some hair thinning, some hair fallout, and that is due to the natural hair growth cycle. So it grows, it stays, then it falls out, then it grows again, and it's a cycle. So when you switch your diet like that, it can be shocking to your system, just like you'll have those other detox symptoms like gas or headaches, all that kind of stuff. And so you will notice some hair thinning and fallout if you do. Not everybody does. I didn't. My hair came back better than ever after I was bald. So the same can be said for your skin. You may notice breakouts or something like that during the detox phase, which could last anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months. But after that, if you've been on a whole food plant-based diet for like a while, and Tanya, I was just going to ask about this. I'm a mind reader. See that? Women always want to know, and I know it's a common question. That's why. So if you've been on this way of eating for several months and you're like having dry skin, then you may be having a gap and a lack of omega-3 fatty acids. And, you know, and many people don't understand how to get their omega-3 fatty acids without eating fish oil, which is completely unnecessary, we now know. So, so having that sort of an itchy scalp or dry hair, dry skin, like noticing that kind of thing, that's a physical sign that you've got a gap in your nutrition, that you gotta, you know, close that gap and learn more and get that gap filled. All right, number 5, because we're going to 8, is low iron. And that's, of course, especially important for menstruating women, which is not me, not anybody who's been through menopause. But you might think that you can only get iron from red meats, and that's called heme iron. But the problem with that heme iron is that it comes packaged along with the saturated fat, all the toxic chemicals, the problematic animal proteins, the growth hormones, the, you know, toxins from the animal and the processing, and the cholesterol and saturated fat. So that is really not the greatest way to get your iron. And lots of people even have iron deficiencies, even eating the standard American diet. So a lot of people will focus on, oh, how am I going to get my iron? How am I going to get my iron? Actually, non-heme plant iron is a lot cleaner and comes with all the good stuff. So fiber, antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, fluids, phytochemicals, all of that. And that's what you want. So if you have a low iron blood test, or again, you're feeling weak and tired, but it's not because you're not eating carbohydrates, and you are eating enough, then you might want to look to your iron. You might want to learn how you can get more iron. And so, you know, you can't always get an iron test at the doctor's office just because you want one, but if you give blood, they check your iron every time. So it's a good idea to go give blood every now and then. It's good for the world, the blood banks, and you can get your iron checked. And did you know they also check your cholesterol and will send you the results? So if you're having a low iron result, or again, if you're feeling weak and tired, then that's a physical sign that you're having gaps in your plant-based nutrition that you gotta learn about. So, all right, number 6, here's a physical sign that lots of people will say. They'll say they hear people gushing about how great they feel after they go vegan, but secretly they're not feeling so good, and they're like afraid to say like they're not feeling so great, and they don't know why. And I, you know, in my coaching groups, I hear this just all the time. And so there's always a reason, and we can always find it. And one reason for this is just eating way too many processed vegan foods, because you don't even know about a whole food plant-based way of eating, and you're so new at this that, you know, you're substituting and using substitute and alternative, you know, processed meats and cheeses and butters and yogurts and all of that junk food, and these have absolutely zero nutrition. But they're loaded with fat, salt, sugar, food chemicals, all kinds of stuff. And when you eat a lot of that every day, you're going to gain weight, and you are not going to feel good. You're not going to feel your best. And so that's the definition of a junk food vegan. And if that's you, you know who you are, and there's a better way, and you just need to learn more about it. That's all. So don't be ashamed to say that, you know what, I'm just not feeling that great, and to try to figure out why, if it's one of these other physical signs and symptoms I've talked about, or to try to figure out why. So, all right, number 7. This one is rare, but if you've been vegan for several months and not eaten any animal products, and you're feeling like you're suffering from lightheadedness, heart palpitations, shortness of breath, diarrhea, gas, nerve problems like tingling or muscle weakness, you could have a vitamin B12 deficiency. And that's especially true if you did not know that you must have a vitamin B12 supplement if you are vegan. Okay, the body does not make vitamin B12, and it does not store vitamin B12, and it only takes a tiny bit from whatever amount that you can take in a supplement. Most food sources are not enough. So you can't rely on food, and so you must take a vitamin B12 supplement. So if it's been several months, and I mean several, like 5 or more, and you've not taken vitamin B12 and you have not eaten any animal products, then that's what's wrong, and you really need to take a vitamin B12 supplement at the dosage that's right for you. So that's a big physical sign that there's a giant gap in your plant-based nutrition. Okay, so always look out for that. All right, and that brings us to number 8, which is a bonus, because it's kind of a trick one, and it's that none of these signs and symptoms and physical signs are caused by a protein deficiency. Now, if you're in this group, you know that I ask 2 questions when you first join the group, and I will tell you the number 1 question is how to get enough protein. But how to get enough protein is not the most important thing, and nobody in the history of the world is dying in this country of a protein deficiency. We are dying from a nutrition deficiency is what it is. We're dying from too much protein, from too much fat. That's what's happening. So according to the plant-based experts, if you're getting enough calories, then you're getting enough protein. And so, and again, it's from a better source, and I've got an easy formula so that you can figure out your personal protein requirements. But even that, it's not really important to know as long as you're having a varied whole food plant-based diet filled with fruits, vegetables, greens, and beans. So there you have it. Those are the physical signs and symptoms of gaps in your plant-based nutrition that you need to watch out for. And because you asked for it, I created a nitty-gritty plant-based nutrition class that is going to start on March 1st. And so that this way you can learn in 2 weeks everything that you need to know to have absolute confidence in your whole food plant-based diet so that you know where you're getting your protein, right? How much fat is too much fat? What are unrefined carbs and how do I eat them, right? How much fiber do I really need? How do you get calcium that's not from a cow? Iron, especially for menstruating women. Omega-3s, right? How do I get that without the fish oil? How much do I need? And so many more things like why carbohydrates are weight loss magic. Tanya says, thank you, so informative. Sure, every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Why carbohydrates make you feel so good, unrefined carbohydrates. And these are not the same junk food carbohydrates that your doctor's telling you to stay away from. So there's a lot to be learned about how a whole food plant-based diet works to reverse the common diseases of heart disease and type 2 diabetes. Why does it result in effortless weight loss when you do it correctly? How does it reduce blood pressure? How does it reduce cholesterol? Why do glucose levels plummet on a whole food plant-based diet? How are these conditions reversed? This is all due to the nutrition of a plant-based diet. And so in this nitty-gritty plant-based nutrition class, this 14-day class, I'm going to teach you all those different things so that you are not going to have these nutrition gaps anymore. And one really cool thing that I'm doing in this class is that I'm going to be doing a personal evaluation of everybody's diet, and it's going to be based on 3 days worth of food photos of your whole day's worth of food. But the trick is you're not going to know when that's going to happen. So I'll be able to really see what are you guys eating in 3 days, and I'll be able to make recommendations based on that. And you're going to find out a whole lot about just seeing it that way, a whole lot about what could be missing from your plant-based diet. It's very telling, and this is something I only do in my private groups. So, you know, it'll be all in a private Facebook group, and it will include that personal evaluation. And I'll be posting about this class in the group, so you will see it. You can sign up for it. And I think that, and because what I most want for you guys is to have that confidence. Like, you may already have the conviction that you know this is what you need to do, but you don't, many of you don't already have the confidence that you're doing it right, that you're doing the right thing to get those health benefits that you really, really want from it. And I know how important that is, and I want to help you guys through that. That's what I'm here for. So, another day I'm going to hop on here and I'll talk about other mistakes that people make with their whole food plant-based diet. And, you know, we'll keep talking more about this, and the class will start on March 1st. Does anybody else have any other questions? You guys asked such good questions, and we heard some really good success stories tonight. Rachel says, thank you, very informative. Yeah, so, you know what? Feel free to continue to ask questions in the comments, and I always respond personally in the comments, and we can continue to keep the discussion going. I hope that if you identified any of these gaps in your plant-based nutrition, that you sign up for this class so that you get to know exactly what you need to do, and then you'll know. Right? It's just you can't learn it all in 30 minutes. It's better to do little by little for 14 days where each day builds on the next day, and you have an action step to put it into practice, and then it will become, it will be an easier transition to have that nutrition fall into place. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay, so that's the weekly Wednesday Live, and again, I wore this red dress in honor of American Heart Health Month, and all of you in this group who are working so hard at overcoming the signs and risk factors and symptoms of heart disease. I'm so touched by you guys. I'm so proud of you guys. Let's see. Mandy says, I'm in. Sign me up. Okay. Who else? Cecily, how do you feel about seeds, hemp, and chia? So yeah, we're going to discuss all of these things in the plant-based nutrition class so that you do not make mistakes with these things. Eating way too much of them, not eating enough of them, right? Okay, let me just see if there's any more questions. Star says, hypothyroid, any results you've heard of? What I know is that a whole food, plant-based, no oil diet, so without the inflammatory oils, gives you your best chance of reducing your thyroid meds and reversing and improving many of the signs and symptoms of hypothyroidism. That's what I know for sure. It regulates hormones, it regulates all body systems, so that's what I know for sure. Does that answer your question at all? So, all right, I look forward to seeing everybody in the group, and as usual, have a wonderful Wednesday night, and I'll see you in the group.